Okay, we're going to continue on today. I wanted to go over the calendar real quick. Today's the 26th of October. The sign's in Pisces, the feet, the most fruitful of all the fruitful days. It's the best day to plant your seed beds. It's the best day to clone. It's the best day to graft. And it's the best day to plant your above ground crops. So now's a good time to plant your above ground crops. Now, the 28th is full moon, and it's Hunter's full moon, and so your tides are going to be greater at full moon, and you're going to have a greater rip current at the beach. So be careful if you go to the beach. And on the 19th, we had the sign in Ophelius, the serpent bearer. So we've been in a real satanic, a very difficult time here in October. And so there's a lot of evil spirits out there. And then you got Halloween, the 31st, Satan's holiday. So be very careful out there. First responders, get ready. It's coming. Or it's already came. It's just going to get worse. Okay, here we go. This is Judges 8, verse 22. We're going to continue on in our Father's Word. Then the men of Israel said to Gideon. Now Gideon means he's the grove cutter. Gideon means grove cutter in Hebrew. So the men of Israel said to Gideon, Gideon's the one that cut down the groves. The groves where they had their sex orgies at. Now, Gideon, rule over us, both you and your son, and your grandson also, for you have delivered us from the hand of Midian. But Gideon said to them, I will not rule over you, nor shall my son rule over you, and the Lord shall rule over you. Then Gideon said to them, I would like to make a request of you, that each of you would give me the earring from your plunder. And they had golden earrings, because they were Ishmaelites. So they answered, we will gladly give them. And they spread out a garment, and each man threw onto it the earrings from his plunder. Now the weight of the gold earrings that he requested was 1,700 shekels of gold, besides the crescent ornaments, pendants, purple robes, which were on the kings of Midian, and besides the chains that were around their camels' necks. Then Gideon made it into an ephod and set it up in his city, Ophrah. And all of Israel played the harlot with it there. It became a snare to Gideon and to his house. Thus Midian was subdued before the children of Israel. So they had lifted their heads no more. And the country was quiet for 40 years in the days of Gideon. Then Zerubbabel, the son of Joash, went and dwelt in his own house. Gideon had 70 sons who were his own offspring, for he had many wives, and his concubine, who was in Shechem, also bore him a son, and his name was Ambimelech. Now, Gideon, the son of Joash, died at a good old age, and was buried in the tomb of Joash his father in Ophrah of the Abiezrites. So it was, as soon as Gideon was dead, that the children of Israel again played the harlot with the Baals, and made Baal-berith their god. Thus the children of Israel did not remember the Lord their God, who had delivered them out of the hands of all their enemies on every side. Nor did they show kindness to the house of Zerubbabel, Gideon, in accordance with the good that he had done for Israel. Then Abimelech, the son of Jerubbaal, went to Shechem, to his mother's brothers, and spoke with them and with all the family of the house of his mother's father, saying, Please speak in the hearing of all the men of Shechem, which is better for you, that all 70 of the sons of Jerubbaal reign over you, or that one reign over you. Remember that I am your own flesh and bone. And his mother's brothers spoke all these words concerning him in the hearing of all the men of Shechem. And their heart was inclined to follow Abimelech. For they said, He is our brother. So they gave him 70 shekels of silver from the temple of Baal Bereth, with which Abimelech hired worthless and reckless men, and they followed him. Then he went to his father's house at Ophrah and killed his brothers, the 70 sons of Jerubbaal, on one stone. But Jonathan, the youngest son of Jerubbaal, was left, because he hid himself. And all the men of Shechem gathered together, all of Beth Milo, and they went and made Abimelech king besides the terebinth tree at the pillar that was in Shechem. And when they told Jotham, he went and stood on top of Mount Gerizim and lifted his voice and cried out. And he said to them, Listen to me, young men of Shechem, that God may listen to you. The trees once went forth to anoint a king over them. And they said to the olive tree, Reign over us. But the olive tree said to them, Should I cease giving my oil, with which they honor God and men, and go to sway over trees? Then the trees said to the fig tree, You come and reign over us. But the fig tree said to them, Should I cease my sweetness and my good fruit, and go sway over trees? Then the trees said to the vine, You come and reign over us. But the vine said to them, Should I cease my new wine, which cheers both God and men, and go to sway over trees? Then all the trees said to the bramble, You come and reign over us. And the bramble said to the trees, If in truth you anoint me as king over you, then come and take shelter in my shade. But if not, let fire come out of the bramble and devour the cedars of Lebanon. Now therefore, if you have acted in truth and sincerity in making Abimelech king, and if you have dwelt well with Jerubbaal and his house, and have done to him as he deserves, for my father fought for you, risked his life, and delivered you out of the hand of Midian. But you have all risen up against my father's house this day, and killed his 70 sons on one stone, and made Abimelech, the son of a female servant, king over the men of Shechem, because he is your brother. And then you have acted in truth and in sincerity with Jerubbaal and with his house this day. Then rejoice in Abimelech, and let him also rejoice in you. But if not, let fire come from Abimelech and devour the men of Shechem and Beth Milo, and let fire come down from the men of Shechem and from Beth Milo and devour Abimelech. And Jotham ran away and fled, and he went to Beer and dwelt there, for fear of Abimelech his brother. And Abimelech had reigned over Israel 3 years. God sent a spirit of ill will between Abimelech and the men of Shechem, and the men of Shechem dwelt